Hey, by the way, tonight's game, New York wins that outright.
You know he's on top. Million subs, he never gonna flop. Out of Chicago, where the streets don't sleep. Betting on games, making cash real deep. Crystal ball for sports, he knows the lines. He's a sports aficionado, the money he finds. From football to basketball, he's always on point. Predicting winners never disappoints. He's got that hustle, that Chicago vibe. Making moves on the streets, cash on the side. With E, you know it's always a bet. He's the king of the game, never forget.
Hello and welcome to the Etoft21sports Show for November 19th. How's everyone doing? My name is Eric. I'm the man behind Etoft21sports. Absolutely loaded episode for you today. My boy, Tyler, I can't even talk, aka King Midas Bets. He's coming on. We are going to look back at week 11, share our week 12 bets, plus Gino will have his horse racing bet of the day. But before we get into all that, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of the show, Boom Fantasy. If you're not using Boom Fantasy, go to the App Store, download the Boom Fantasy app, use promo code ETOFT21. That way they know old Uncle Rico sent you. Now, let's see what Gino has cooking for us over at Churchill Downs.
Got a best bet for you this week at Churchill Downs. It's on Saturday. Those races are already out, but the odds are not quite out yet. Remember, head to drf.com for anything you need. Each and every week, I'll be here with a best bet for you. Hey, if you're over on Blue Sky, come check me out. Eric and I are over on there now. We're starting to try to grow a little following on there. It's me, Gino B, and I'll be posting lots of videos, and we'll be posting links to all of our stuff over on there as well. Churchill, Saturday, couple graded stakes races. Let's go to race number 8. The horse that's going to take a lot of money in here is Too Sharp. The one who I think is really interesting is Positano Sunset. She went a mile and a 16th last time out. She was favored. She got the lead, but she's not really a horse who runs on the front end. I think she just had the inside draw. There wasn't much speed, and she ended up trying to go on with it. She'll be sitting here behind Too Sharp because Too Sharp's going to likely go on with it. I'd love to see if Positano Sunset could sit second or third. You can even see Aver show a little bit of speed here, even from the outside, maybe Fancy. I think Positano Sunset sitting off the pace will help a little bit. She's going to cut back a bit. 7 furlongs, 6.5, those are the distances where she's really good. So the mile and the one-turn mile will be fine. It's not that race last time out, she got a little lost on the front end. So Positano Sunset, that'll be the play for us in race number 8. That's the grade 2 Chaluki. Remember, when you're looking at these DRF past performances, which is really cool, you can check out a lot of different things. Like here's what the Timeform US past performances look like, and it gives you a little graph that'll sort of show you what the projectors will be, who's going to be on the early speed, where horses will be. They actually like Positano Sunset as well, thinking this horse could sit a little bit more mid-pack, and they have finishing right on the front end. So hopefully we're right with Timeform US with the number 6, Positano Sunset, race 8 on Saturday.
Make sure to give my boy Gino a follow at It's Me, Gino B on Blue Sky. He's going to be transitioning over there. Make sure to give him a follow. I'll be on his podcast every single Friday talking NFL, NBA, or college basketball. Now, let's bring this week's special guest. Really looking forward to picking his brain. King Midas Bets, a.k.a. Tyler. Tyler, how you doing, my friend?
Doing good, man. Glad to be back on. I think this is round 3 for us. So
round three
on the show.
It's kind of funny. You and I were talking about this game because we both bet NIU.
Yeah, bet on NIU, and so far it's not going great. I mean,
you know what?
We're going to sweat this one together live on the show. They've got the ball, so if they can cut it to a touchdown here.
You know, we're talking. I was kicking myself because I mean, God, I should have took Stanford, but I talked myself off of it, and I talked myself off of oh my God, Wilmington. What's that score? That game must be over. Oh, tossed myself off Wilmington against Kansas. Bobby Chine, MSA closer than I thought. Richardson's going to be good. I like Richardson. I like Richardson a lot. I think he could be something for them come March. Any early college basketball thoughts, man? I mean, I know we're insanely early in the season.
It's so early. If I was smart, I just wouldn't even bet in November. Typically, I'm cooking full steam ahead January, February into March. It's just highly unpredictable this time of year. But college basketball is my favorite sport to bet. That's how I got my King Midas Bets account started, was on college basketball. And so I kind of feel an obligation to give out the picks year round. But if you want to make some money, follow me January, February, March. When we have that data to work with, it's a beautiful thing. Never have ever had in 23 years of losing January and February.
What's up, guys? Did you see the Cavs backdoor cover? No, but I'm hearing.
We were talking about that.
I'm hearing about it. Like that's a lot of people send me messages about the Cavs backdoor cover. Those watching, basically what we do is we each have a takeaway. We each give out 3 bets.
Yeah.
You are the guest, my friend. Tell us what your takeaway is.
So it's kind of a big picture takeaway. I'm going to talk about the NFC, and I know that, primarily, especially during NFL season, this is a NFL show, and that's what people want. People want to hear about. Your Lions, clearly the best team in the NFC at this point, maybe the best team in the NFL. And so my takeaway was really going to be more about, well, who is the competition for them when it's going to come down to playoff time in terms of, who's going to fight off the Lions. And I was really expecting the 49ers all along to be that team. Even if they got off to a slow start, I thought they had the talent, the pieces in place, the experience making it there last year to provide that competition. And Sunday, I've completely downgraded them in my book. And it's not just the fact that they lost a home game to the Seahawks. It's the way that actually went about. When you look at that game, the total yards were about even. I think maybe 11 yards total difference. They won the turnover battle 2-1. They won the time of possession. They were more efficient on third down, and they still lost the game. They're now down to 5-5. So they had everything set up for them to win that game, and they still dropped it. And at this point, I'm not really taking them seriously until they can turn things around. And I think that we've been sleeping on, and maybe some of it's due to an easy schedule, we've been sleeping on the Eagles. So my hot take is, when it comes down to the wire, NFC Championship game, I think the Eagles are going to be right there. They've won 6 straight. There are some bad teams in there. They've beat the Browns, the Giants, the Bengals, the Jags, the Cowboys. But the win over the Commanders really upped them in my book. And it was the way that they went about it. They got down early. They fought back. They ran the ball. At this point, they're 4th in offensive yards. They're 1st in rushing. They're 1st in rushing defense. So they can run the ball. They can stop the run. I think when it comes down to giving the Lions competition, we slept on the Eagles a little bit too much. And my hot take is that they're back and that it's going to be really, really fun down the stretch. Because I think that when you look at their schedule, they're going to end up with a very good record. The Lions are not going to slow down. They play a couple close or tough teams to end the regular season. I don't know. They may be at the point of resting people. But other than that, they're mowing everybody down. And so congrats to your Lions. I'm a Cowboys fan. And that's about as bad as it gets. It pains me to come on here and say the Eagles are going to be good, and they're built to win down the stretch. But it is what it is at this point, my man.
I hate the Lakers. Eagles, I'm telling you, the DBs are getting better. Carter up front, I like them to win it.
Yeah.
49ers playing so deep in multiple seasons is now playing catch up. Yeah. Because they're starting to get a little banged up. Even Purdy's on the injury report now. Purdy may not even play this weekend. Yeah,
I saw that he was questionable. They've obviously had tons of injuries. I don't know if it's due to playing deep or not. It is. They're playing banged up, but when you win or break even on the total yards, you win the turnover battle, you win the time of possession, you're more efficient on third down, you're a better team, you're at home, and you still don't find a way to win. There's no killer instinct there this year that we've seen in the past. That's the type of game that they win the last few years that they're not winning this year.
Are you ready for my takeaway?
I'm ready. Hit me.
History. You know what they say about history? What do they say about history?
It repeats itself.
Okay. There was an old Packers quarterback that went to the Jets. It was an utter disaster. and then he went to the Minnesota Vikings. I'm calling it right now. Aaron Rodgers is going to be the Minnesota Vikings quarterback next season.
Wow.
Darnold on a 1-year contract. He's making $1 million. He's going to want some cheddar. I mean, he played above expectation. He's going to want some guarantee. McCarthy is having another knee injury.
Okay.
Another knee surgery. I'm sorry. And I think we can admit that the Jets trading for Rodgers has been a nightmare at best.
No good.
They need to move on from him. They are ruining the early years of Hall and Wilson. And as crazy as it sounds, if Zach Wilson was their quarterback, I think they'd be battling for a playoff spot. They are going to move on from Rodgers after the season. He's only an $8.8 million cap hit. If they wait until after next season, that's all the way up to $17.8 million. The following year, $23.5 million. And then after that, he's got 1 year and then he's done. So this is the year that they're going to move him. This has to be the year because they can't be in this cycle. And when you look around the landscape, the Vikings are the only team, because I think McCarthy's going to have to miss another year with his knee surgery, that needs a gap year quarterback. So to me, him going to Minnesota makes all the sense in the world.
The Vikings have enough talent to be in win now mode. I mean, he's going to have to go somewhere that's in win now mode because he's got a year or two left at best. But that could be the Vikings right now. And the Jets got to bail on him. They absolutely do.
The Jets are going to have a top pick. Draft a quarterback and just go with it. Or I'm telling you, I think what we're going to see people do is tank and try to get Archie for the following draft.
Could be
coming out.
It's a little premature because he's not even starting yet, but the hype is certainly there. I live in Austin, so I follow Texas football pretty closely, and he seems to have all the tools and the pedigree.
So I to me, another thing I heard is the Jags drafting Cam Ward or whoever, then trading Lawrence to the Jets, and then the Jets moving Rodgers to the Vikings.
I don't know that I see the Jags getting rid of Lawrence. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I can see it.
What's your idea of Lawrence? I think he's one of the biggest busts ever because of the expectations coming in.
I'm not going to call him one of the biggest busts ever just because we've seen so many guys get drafted high and just be completely out of the league within a year or two. But no, he's under-delivering, but I also try to take into context what they've put around him. And some years have been better than others. This year's not there's just not a lot there. I don't know that I can – he's not playing well, but I don't know that I can completely put it on him this year. I don't know if they want to make a move or get him some more time. Do you know when his contract is up? Did he sign a long-term deal?
He signed a new one.
Yeah.
They're literally married to him. And they they could have waited 2 more years before they signed him. Them signing Rodgers was just Lawrence. Total idiotic move.
I mean, I'm sure that they saw some potential in him, especially I felt like out of the gate he looked, pretty strong. But there just has not continued to progress. Somebody was asking how you're feeling.
Well, dude, I am better than Sunday. Sunday, I could barely talk on this thing. So, at least my vocal cords are working. Now you're a cowboy. You're down in cowboy land. You're down in Cowboyville. Give us the state. I mean, what's going on down there? Let's hear your cowboy rant.
Absolutely. To a person, people are putting blame where blame is due. And this doesn't have to do with Dak. It doesn't have to do with the coach. It doesn't have to do with anything. The fans, the money. This has to do with Jerry Jones. And this is the chickens coming home to roost for problems that have been there for almost 30 years now. And when you have ownership that bad, when you have a GM that's that bad, and it's been festering and festering, and he has enough money to keep throwing it at a few top players each year to keep them competitive. But people are done with him. This is Cowboys fans ever since he fired, Tom Landry initially, and then the spat with Jimmy Johnson I think 1994. People have not liked Jerry Jones. Cowboys fans have not liked Jerry Jones. And it has come to a point now where there is so much vitriol and anger towards this man that I don't know what's going to happen. I've never, ever seen it boil over to the point where it is now. And I've never thought he would ever step down as GM. Never. He's too arrogant. It's his ship. Captain's going to go down with the ship. I think it's actually to the point now where that would even be a possibility. People are so angry. The Cowboys fans don't even care if we win anymore. If you want to go watch them play on Thanksgiving, there's tickets, not the standing room only tickets, with an actual seat for $50. In a typical year, those are $400 seats, even the bad seats. And you saw with the Texans last night, there was as much Texans red in that stadium as Cowboys blue, because everybody is just done. And in a lot of years, if we draft this guy, if we sign this coach, if we sign this big free agent, nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares, because it's not going to fix the root problem. We can draft whoever, we can hire whatever coach. It's not going to change anything until Jerry's not the GM and until he stops running this team like a circus. Everybody that's ever left there as a player has said, I can finally go somewhere else and play football and not deal with Jerry's media circus and dragging fans through practices. And it's a clown show. It's an absolute clown show. This is not a serious franchise. It is not about winning. You don't have this many resources and not do anything since 1995. I'm about to be 42 years old. I was in middle school the last time we did anything. So there's my rant. And this is the only thing that the Cowboys fans are united on. There's always back and forth, different factions. Everybody is on the same page. It is the most united I've ever seen this fan base.
I'm looking at it right now. There's $26 standing room.
Oh yeah, 26 standing room, and last I checked, you could get a seat for $40-$50, and it's probably going to go down.
Ah, jeez, that's absolutely insane.
Yep.
Couldn't pay me to watch DeVito versus Rush in person.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing, because Danny Dimes for the Giants, he didn't just get demoted; they put him to third string.
But I think with Locke, I was reading, I think it's like this contract thing with Locke.
Okay.
So I think it's DeVito this week, and then they're going to go to Locke.
Okay, fair enough. But they're not going back to
no, he's done. Because if he gets hurt, they have to pay him that contract. He's got some injury clause where if he gets hurt, then they gotta fund some contract. And I'm looking. I pulled up Dak's contract right here. Where's this contract?
It's absurd.
He's paid through 2028. These are his buyouts. 40 this year. I'm just gonna round up and round out. 43 million, 89 million, 68 million, 62 million, 72 million. It's just absurd.
And he's now on a second season ending injury. This is the second time he's had a season ending injury. And
if they're gonna have a high pick, they'll probably go offensive lineman. But yeah, their trenches are bad.
We went offensive lineman first with our first pick last year. We started the season with 2 rookies starting on the O-line. How many times can you keep going back to the well on O-line? It doesn't matter, because we could have the first overall pick and pick whoever we wanted, and it wouldn't matter, because you're just going to be taking high quality players and plugging them into a dysfunctional system. Just doesn't matter.
The funniest people I see are the people it's like, oh, they're going to draft Sanders. They're going to hire Deion and then draft his kid. They can't do it. They literally are married to Dak unless Dak retires.
He would have to retire, and sitting on that much money, he's never going to retire. That's not going to happen. You can't really trade him, because how much of that would the Cowboys have to pick up in a trade?
89 million. You know, like it just, and who's going to want him? Like literally, unless hypothetically, let's say I'm just the 49ers next year, Purdy tears his ACL.
Right.
Like a team like that, you know, like a team that's like on the cusp of winning it.
Yeah, a win now team.
Yeah, their win now team. Two things happened in the game last night. CJ Stroud got knocked down, and literally no one came over to help him up. A little while later, Larry Tunsil got knocked down, and the whole offensive line ran over to help him up.
Interesting.
Now, there's certain things I like to read into.
Yeah. Usually the quarterback gets protected.
And that's kind of one of them. You know what I mean? That kind of stood out to me just a little bit. Just a little bit. Did you notice that? Or
I didn't see that happen. I mean, by the second half, I was just glazed over. I was just sweating the under, which the Cowboys completely gifted away. When the under was actually going to hit until they fumbled, some Cowboy number 60 picked up the ball, started running with it, and then it got it taken away, and then the Texans housed it, and that was what killed me. Like, their offense is so bad.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, like it's no secret, I'm shit. I am dog shit right now. And I went to bed at halftime, and I was sitting on a +7.5. And you're telling me that's how I lost it? I had no idea. Like, I haven't even rewatched the game yet. Wow.
It killed it. I didn't have Dallas, but it killed the Cowboys bet, and it killed the under. And I mean, it's just a complete clown play. I mean, what are you doing? That's how bad I am right now. Is we're in on NFL at least. College football is doing okay, but I'm inventing new ways to lose NFL games.
This been the year of the public in the NFL. It's gotten better, but you know, now we need to talk some betting. But before we do that, let's look at how we did last week. Last week, Lady D hit the Steelers +3, the Broncos -2.5, and the Bills -2.5. Old Uncle Rico hit the Eagles -3, Steelers +3.5, lost the Raiders +7.5. For the show, we are an insane 35-21-1. It's been a good show. And, you know, I got to give Lady D props. She comes on here. She's been on here twice now this year. She hasn't lost a bet.
Wow.
Like she is a legit 6-0 in her appearances this year. And even last year, she's been on this 3 times and she has not lost a bet when she's been on here. So I got to give her props. Betting deals.
I should be tailing her. I'm gonna be paying extra close attention now.
Make sure
6-0 out there
for a follow. First bet, and you're going to.
Well, we're just going to stay right on the Cowboys theme here because this clown show is not going to get any better. What you're going to see is a lot of teams that the Cowboys have played well against over the years, especially divisional teams that are going to take their shot against Dallas. Everybody loves to beat up on the Cowboys whenever they get that opportunity. And the Commanders are actually a really good matchup. This line was originally 9.5. Crossing 10 is going to need a lot of action for the books to do it. And when they took the line down because the Cowboys were playing yesterday, they put it back up at 10.5, and I'm still rolling with it. Anybody got 9.5, it just got great value on this. Really, the key to beating the Commanders, there's one key, and that's you can run the ball on them. They're a good team. They put up points. They defend the pass pretty well. Even though they've been ahead in a lot of games, teams are passing on them. They haven't given up a ton of passing yards, but you can run the ball on them. And the Cowboys have shown that they have probably the worst or second worst rush offense in the league. So the one weakness, the Achilles heel of the Commanders, the Cowboys have no ability to take advantage of, which basically means it's going to turn into the Cooper Rush show, throwing the ball, and it's going to be ugly. There's just no way around it. Cowboys are, 31st in the league in rushing. And Zach Martin, I don't have an injury status update, but he was hobbling off the field last night. So even if he goes, he's not going to be full strength on the O-line. You're going to have a bunch of rookies out there. Commanders are going to run the ball all day on the Cowboys. All day. It's going to be relentless, and they should absolutely cover this line.
I'm looking at the history.
Mm-hmm.
In the last 10 games, guess how many one-score games there's been in this matchup?
2.
Close. 1.
Yeah.
December 12th, 2001, the Cowboys won 27-20. Other than that, 38-10, 45-10, 26-6, 25-10, 56-14. Just beatdowns.
There's some good stats out there in the NFL that show, like if you're thinking about money line, which you probably would not be in this case, but money line versus spread. If you're on the favorite, more often than not, if they're going to win the game outright, they're also going to cover the spread. So don't be scared of the big number. I bet on the Lions minus 13.5, gave that out as a play last week. Was anybody sweating 13.5 in the fourth quarter? Absolutely not. Sometimes it's just a mismatch, not just in terms of quality, but in terms of the actual matchup and how the game's going to play out. And this is one of those, the Commanders are going to easily turn the Cowboys into a one-dimensional team. And with Cooper Rush back there, it ain't going to happen.
My bet, and I'm going to Thursday night, give me the Cleveland Browns plus 3.5. Tomlin as a favorite, 48% against the number. As a road favorite, 46%. As a road favorite of 3.5 or more, 39.1%. As a favorite after beating the Ravens, 40% ATS. Last 20 years, teams that lost by 20 or more the following week, 54% ATS, 3.5% ROI. When they're a dog, that goes up to 55.2%, 6.9% ROI. When they're a home dog, 55% again, but 6.7%. So basically the same. Steelers just beat the Ravens, have the Bengals at home. Kind of like the spot here to fade them on the short week, traveling to Cleveland. So the spots and trends are telling me to take the Browns. Steelers do allow the 18th most passing yards per game. They are middle of the row, 15 pass coverage PFF. So I think Winston is going to be able to pass the ball. And the Browns have some weapons. Tillman, electric, Moore, electric, Njoku. So they do have some weapons they can use. Historically speaking, Chubb has played well against the Steelers. He's looked better and better each game coming back from the injury. I think he's going to have another good game here. Highsmith could miss this game as well. The Steelers defense historically struggles when he doesn't play. Steelers offensive line struggles pass blocking, and Wilson struggles when facing pressure. With that being said, I think Garrett and company are going to be able to get to him. I don't think this line should be over 3. I think it's a good buying point of the Browns and selling point of the Steelers. So I'm on the Cleveland Browns here, plus 3.5.
Well, I gave them out on Sunday. They were tied 14-14 in the third quarter and melted down. So I have a feeling they're going to be bouncing right back for you. They're a lot better than they played on Sunday.
I mean, that was just a Taysom Hill doing. What's your thoughts on Taysom Hill?
He's kind of like BYU in general. They just keep finding a way to hang around and get the job done. I know they lost this Saturday, but in general, just find a way to get the job done. Find a way to stay relevant. I think he scored the first touchdown and cashed some tickets for people on that.
How old? Guess how old he is.
Well, okay. So I mentioned being from Austin, where the University of Texas is. He played against Texas and just thrashed them. And I'm going to say that probably was 10 years ago. And so I'm going to, the Mormons, you never know. I'm going to say he's 30.
34.
34.
34, dude. 34. And the funny thing to me is, like, if he's so good, why doesn't he play more? He doesn't really have a position.
People can't figure out what to do with him.
It's like they're obsessed with giving him the ball. And I understand, like, they're down weapons. But dude, like, you got to have some better options than Taysom Hill. Next bet, my friend, going to a little Sunday night.
Yeah, we're going Sunday Night Football. We're going Eagles versus the Rams. I'm going with another favorite here. Don't always love to go with a favorite and a primetime spot like that, but we're going to talk a little bit about some more mismatches. The Rams have one strength to their team. If you look offense, defense, running, passing, the strength of their team is passing the ball. They are an effective passing team. They're a top 10 in total yards passing. And I think one of your listeners actually chimed in with complimenting the Eagles defensive backs earlier, and that's exactly where I'm going with this. Despite the fact that the Eagles are winning most of their games, meaning teams are passing against them because they're down, the Eagles have given up the second fewest passing yards. So when the Rams try to pass the ball against them, they're passing into maybe the best pass defense in the NFL. And the Rams' run game is absolutely atrocious. They're 26th in total yards. And the Eagles stop the run too. So they're going to be forced to pass. The Rams are going to become completely one-dimensional. And I just don't see how they're going to win this game without winning maybe the turnover battle. They're just going to be throwing into the teeth of a defense that stops the pass. When you talk about the Eagles, their ability to run the ball, the Rams are okay at stopping the rush. It's really not a strong suit. The Eagles are the best rushing team in the NFL, and I think that they're just going to physically dominate this game. I think they're going to control the clock. I think the Rams get behind. They start throwing into that pass defense, and I just don't see how they're going to win the game. Let's see if I had any other important note. Oh, one other note. It's a road game. This is not a road game. There will be just as many Eagles fans there. The Rams have no home field advantage at all. It may be a home game for the Eagles.
We have no fans.
Yeah.
My boy's a huge 49er fan. He always sends me videos. All 49er fans there. My next bet, and Jesus Christ, I hate my life. Back-to-back weeks. I'm going back to them. Hit them plus 5.5. Going back at it. Give me the Chicago Bears plus 3.5. Who the hell is Sam Darnold to be laying points on the road in a divisional matchup? Career 44% against the number as a favorite 38%. There's been a switch in the way defenses are playing the Vikings. They are stacking the box, forcing Arnold to throw the ball more, and they're taking Aaron Jones away. The last 4 games, Darnold's TD to INT ratio is 1 to 1.4. The first 5 games, 1 to 3. For as bad as a coach that Eberflus is, he and coach defense. Bears have a top 10 defense in the league. I think they're going to be able to take Jones away and force Darnold to beat them. Now, with that being said, let's look at what Thomas Jones, the new OC, did for Williams in the offensive line to make their life easier. More pre-snap motion, making it easier for Williams to determine the coverage. Getting the ball out of Williams' hands faster. What does that do? Less time for the O-line to block and less for Williams to read the field and just go with 1 or 2 reads. They're not giving him too many reads. They're giving him 2 reads, and they're telling him if that's not there, to run. That was the best rushing game Williams has had. They're using his feet a lot more. That's what they did with Lamar Jackson when Lamar came up. 1 read, not there, you run. And that's what they did with Caleb Williams. They also moved DJ Moore back to the slot where he's more comfortable. And the slot defense, the slot cornerback is the weakness of the Vikings defense. We need to remember St. Brown, 8 for 112 against the Vikings. I think DJ Moore is a DFS sleeper. I think he's in line for a huge game against the middle of the field of the Minnesota Vikings. Also, he's holding everyone accountable. Waldron did nothing. What Nate Davis, who they signed, said he was hurt, said he needed to skip practice. They cut him. They're holding guys more accountable. Road divisional favorites laying 3.5 or less, 45% against the number. Favorites laying between 3.5 and 6.5, 44% against the number. I really like these new changes that the OC has made. I think the Vikings are trending in the wrong direction. And my old man has a saying, we are who we are. And what is Sam Darnold? A bad quarterback. Give me the Bears plus 3.5.
All right.
I mean, I hate it, but I'm doing it.
Now, usually betting ugly in the NFL will pay off. I've definitely made most of my money betting ugly games. And to teams that just, it doesn't feel good, but you've got a lot of stats backing up your decision there. So
it's kind of crazy. Like, CMU is playing Western Michigan right now. My parents live in Mount Pleasant. I grew up in Mount Pleasant, Michigan. My mom is blowing up my phone right now about CMU about ready to beat Western Michigan.
That's a rivalry. That's a rivalry game.
Huge rivalry game. I have an F Western t-shirt somewhere. I should have wore that tonight. Next bet, my friend. Where are we going?
Going Packers. I don't love it. I feel like I'm walking into a trap here, and it's one of those where I just can't help myself. I think for all the reasons that at the top of the show when we were talking about the 49ers and how I don't think they're a legit contender and how Brock Purdy's banged up. Even if he plays, he's not going to be 100%. He's questionable. It looks like this line looks like the books are begging you to take the Packers, which is my hesitation because you've got a 7-3, I think, home team coming off a win versus a 5-5 road team coming off a pretty bad home loss. And the spread's only 2.5. I think they're begging us to take the Packers here, and I'm going to just walk straight into that because that's how low I am on the 49ers. Statistically, I cannot, point out to, the first two were based on a specific mismatch that I was highlighting. I can't do that here. I just think the Packers in love are better than the 49ers. They're at home. I think that they're going to be hungry to win this game the way things have gone the last couple years in the playoffs. The 49ers having their number. They're going to want this game. They're the better team, and they're going to go win. And that's it. There's no hard-hitting analysis here. There's no stats. It is the 49ers are – that's the stat. The 49ers are not a good football team, at least in this current – as of right now, they're a team that cannot find a way to win the game. And how are they going to go on the road and do it? They're not.
LaFleur at home, 62% against the number, 19% ROI. Our girl, Lady D, chimes in. She likes the Eagles money line.
Great. Agree.
Let's make some money. Packers alt line that to -7, -10. Packers revenge spot.
Yep.
They are winning huge.
Sometimes we just need to not overthink it. It's kind of like the Lions versus the Jags, where I put out Lions -13.5. And obviously there's tons of statistics backing the Lions, especially at home. Sometimes it's just don't overthink it.
Don't outthink the room. Like, just don't outthink the room.
I watched every snap of that 49ers game on Sunday. And I walked away from that saying, I'm going to bet against them next week. Even if I wish they won the game. I think I would have even got a better line. But no, they're not a good football team right now.
They're struggling. And I hate to do it. I'm going against my boys. Give me the Indianapolis Colts +7.5.
Lions win. Colts cover. I think that's where you're going.
I hate the fact I'm taking it. But what is gambling all about? Buying low and selling high. Is there a team right now that is higher valued than my Detroit Lions? And those who don't know, I've been a Lions fan since the day I was born. I am used to disappointment. Everything in my place is Detroit stuff. I got the Red Wings, Tigers, Detroit mix-up hat on. And I'm used to disappointment. But this is the biggest – in all my lifetime, I cannot remember them being this overvalued. They are the Super Bowl favorites right now. They're coming off a 52-6 win over the Jaguars. Teams after scoring 50 points or more, 45% ATS. Lions have won 8 straight. Teams on an 8-game winning streak, 39% ATS. Teams that won by 38 points or more, 39.6% ATS. When that team is favorites, 37. When they're road favorites, 33%. Shane Steichen is one of the better coaches in the league against the spread, 60.7%. At the end of the day, what do the Lions like to do? They like to run the ball. And I think with DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart up front, I think they're going to be able to limit Gibbs and limit Monty. Get that pressure on Goff. Even though the Lions beat the Titans, Goff struggled when you're able to stop the run. And when we look at that box score against the Titans, all that was special teams production. The Lions weren't moving the ball at all. When you look when they played the Bucks, Vita Vea, they had trouble running the ball. They ended up losing to the Bucks. So the path is kind of there against these teams that can kind of stop the run. Lions' offensive scheme is to filter to the middle of the field, the slot wide receiver position. That's where St. Brown, Sam Laporta, who's been banged up. But the key thing is Moore, who's the Colts' best DB, lines up in the slot, and he is DB PFF graded the third best in the league. So I think he's going to be able to limit St. Brown. Richardson is the QB that I like to take as a dog. He can extend plays with his legs. He can throw it. He can chuck it down the field. Arnold is having a bad season for the Lions. I think the Colts will look to exploit him. His PFF graded DB 98. And when they do the nickel and Robertson comes in, that's two DBs you can attack. You look, Branch, Joseph, elite in the back. Carlton Davis, he's a step slower. You can still attack him. Those safeties are solid, but you can attack the corners of this Lions defense. Lions have a Thanksgiving Day matchup against the Bears. Huge rivalry game. I know the Bears are down, but that is a rivalry game on deck. The trends and the spot are telling me to take the Indianapolis Colts plus 7.5.
You know, I don't hate it. The Colts play a lot better at home. If you go back and look at their schedule, they have a winning home record. Some of their home losses have actually been tougher teams. I know the Bills were one of the teams, and they were competitive in that game. I could definitely see them making a game of it. They beat the Dolphins at home. They beat the Steelers at home. They lost to the Texans, but by 2 points.
And that was a great cover in week 1.
Yeah, they tend to play very competitive games at home and have a winning home record. I think that's maybe, I don't remember exactly what it was, but winning at home.
NIU, calling it NIU scores goes for 2, doesn't get it, and loses by 1.
I don't love to hear that, but let me see.
Did you bet the money line?
I actually have +2. So if they go for 2 and get it or don't get it, that'd be great.
They went for 2.
Oh, they already did? Did they get it?
Nope.
Okay.
See, I hate that.
It's too early.
I hate that. I go on these rants all the time about chasing points. I would rather them kick it and then go for the 2, try to win it.
There's 11 and a half minutes left. I mean, so, okay, they score again. That gets it to 15. They're going to have to go for 2 again.
Yeah.
If they score again and don't get it, I'll get a push. There's a lot of football left. But in that scenario, I get a push. If they get it, it's overtime. Might win, might lose. You know, the points won't really matter as much at that point. Just way too early to
wait. I hate the chasing point stuff. I go on and on and on and on and on about chasing points. And the thing that pisses me off the most is everyone's go-to is like, well, that's what the analytics say. And then when you ask people to explain the analytics, they can't explain it.
Yeah, it really, in that situation, it just does not make a lot of sense. And
so, did you watch the San Jose State Boise State game?
I did not, but I know that San Jose State bettors were angry all over my Twitter. I didn't have anything on it. But...
So I had the 14.5. They got up 14-0, dominating the game. Get down to the 3, and they line up for the field goal, take a timeout, decide to go for it, and run a play for a swing pass to an offensive lineman in the flat. Here's my thing. Take the points. You can't give Boise State any momentum. Like, you literally can't. And then I don't know if you saw the end of the game.
I didn't see it, no.
They were down 14, 21 to 42.
Mm-hmm.
They got down to the 1 yard line and had 3 tries to get it in and couldn't score. So I didn't get my 14 and a half. But I'm going to say this. Scoreboard momentum is a real thing in football. As much as everyone doesn't want to get it, if you don't get it, look at the Commanders last week. Why did the Commanders kick the 3 to go up 13-10, 13-12, excuse me? They chased points, and that came back to bite them in the ass. Just take the points. Scoreboard pressure is real.
It is real.
Momentum is real. And you get all these analytics. Well, that's what the analytics say. Well, explain the analytics. And the way the data that they're even looking at, the way the game is played now compared to 5 years different.
Mm-hmm.
10 years different. 15 years different. 20 years different. So all that data that they're saying, that's what the analytics say, the game's played different. It's
right.
new data.
Your data doesn't
matter at all.
The other thing, and I'll argue this more on the college side, because you got a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds running around out there. Momentum to me matters more in college.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of college teams that are almost beat before they ever get on the field because, for example, San Jose State, even though they're not having a bad year, they're not supposed to beat Boise. They're double-digit dogs for a reason.
Yeah.
The longer you play with the lead and get your guys to start believing that they can actually win that game, the better chance you have. Screw your analytics. Stack up points. Let your guys believe. Let that offense run off the field after a successful possession, even if it's a field goal, because they did their job. They've extended their lead. They're believing that they have a chance. But what happens as soon as Boise State with Gianti starts running down their throat and they have all the momentum? San Jose State's going to cave. And you see it all the time where the better team starts rolling and the other team just rolls over. If you're playing and you're playing with the lead, let your guys play with the lead as long as possible because they're going to start believing. And maybe not in the NFL as much. They're professionals. They're older. It's a different game. But in college,
just don't open the door.
The psychology is huge. And so I think that people don't really understand the mental letdown. If you're an offense and you drive the field and you go for it on fourth and you don't get it,
exactly
how much of a letdown that is versus kicking the field goal and running off the field and everybody high-fiving each other. They're still kids. A lot of these guys are teenagers. Let them get that win.
That's why I always say the ex-girlfriend now, she would always give me shit because I would always be yelling, take the points.
Take the points. Oh, my friends hate it because they think that I'm just completely weak and not willing to take a risk. I'm like, no, let those guys get a win, run off the field, and
Nick Nash is the best player in college nobody has heard of. And the fact he's not even a finalist for the wide receiver of the year award is a travesty. I hope he would look perfect in that Lions blue. Give me Nick Nash as the backup to St. Brown. I would absolutely love that.
All right. He's 6'3", 195. You're okay with that?
I'm fine with that, man.
Fast as hell, I bet.
Nick Nash, dude.
All right.
I'm looking
at your boy. He's almost at 100 catches, 1,300 yards, 14 touchdowns, 13 and a half yards per catch.
Did you see 95, 1,200, 14? I mean, those, and you're now up for the wide receiver of the year award? Like, wide receiver.
He didn't come into the year a complete unknown. He had 48 catches and 8 touchdowns last year.
Well, let's see it. I mean, the kid from Louisville, really?
So this Nick Nash guy,
Yeah.
If you go back to 2019, 2020, and 2021, I think he was a running back. He had 40 carries, and 68 carries.
No, he was their quarterback.
Oh, that's it. All right. So then he moved to receiver.
I know my San Jose football, dude. I know my.
All right, I'm impressed.
Man. I'm Team Aztecs, dude.
So he moved. So he did what a lot of guys that want to be quarterback refuse to do, which change positions, move to wide receiver, and it looks like he's going to pay off for him.
He's definitely going to be in it. So look, I get it, dude. Hunter, I get it. I get. You know what? I'm not gonna knock. Oh, he is named. Sorry, my bad. He is on the semifinalist list. So my rant was for nothing.
Good.
My rant was for nothing.
I'm glad to hear he's on.
I'd like to thank you for coming on, talk some shop. When you tell everyone where they can find you on social media, if they want to become part of your betting world, how to get a hold of you and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Active every single day on Twitter or X now. I'm still, every time I come on here, I say I'm going to do better about posting on other platforms, but with my work schedule, I'm on X every single day. I'll post a VIP recap every single day. So if you're not a VIP, you know exactly what you missed, good, bad, or ugly. College basketball is my main game. And especially once you get into December, January, February, I never have a losing year. I haven't had a losing January or February in 23 years. It's where I make my money. We roll that right into MLB season. Had a very profitable MLB year this year. So if you're interested in, I don't do NBA, be upfront about that. But if you're into college basketball and you want to bet on some teams that nobody's ever heard of on a random Thursday night, I'm your guy.
That's how you do it, buddy. That's how you do it. San Jose State outright versus UNLV. I would love that. Thanks for coming on, my friend. Look forward to having you on soon. We'll be back next week with my boy XFL Jim, and that is the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Always a fun episode because I'm always on the road at my sister's place, and there's little kids running around. Always
tune in for that one.
Always a good time. Make sure to check that out. Thanks for coming on. We'll talk soon, my friend.
Absolutely.